Hello, I am Everett Maxine, and I would like to thank you for listening to The Absence of Her. Please like, follow, and most importantly, share. Understanding the difference between healthy striving and perfectionism is critical to laying down the shield and picking up your life. Brene Brown. This is October, and today is the 63rd birthday of my mother, who this podcast was created in honor of her. For the entire month of October, I will be speaking great memories on the life of her. Prayers for the family of Pastor Jared Wilson and those that knowingly and unknowingly suffer from mental illness. I must be honest, the days after his passing left me in a fog. Having been a woman that has stood on the edge of giving up on life and having battled depression, I was left with the thought, what do you do when the hope and happiness you seek goes unfulfilled? I have come to the conclusion that although loss is painful, we cannot allow it to change our beliefs, goals, and hope in the future. One of the greatest tools to keep a balanced life is self-care. Self-care is defined as the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness. Self-care is something I deprived myself of for many years. So once I had worked too many hours, taking on too many tasks, I would just become irritable and angry, in need of rest. I deprived myself to get things done. My irritability would leave me frustrated and snappy with others. My level of frustration would increase, and mentally, I would just shut down, sometimes in tears, tired because I had pushed myself beyond my limit. The greatest start for me in caring for myself was seeking therapy, something that I have shared before. Owning the fact that in an imperfect world, I too was also imperfect. We often equate our success based on how busy we are, what we fill our days with, and our noted accomplishments. But know that none of that means we're happy or that we're living a healthy life. Don't get me wrong. It is great to be involved outside of work and home, but if you're left feeling drained, unhappy, and unsatisfied, what was the point? If you are a part of a church body and you are there every time the doors open, helping with every event, participant in several groups, but have not sought to draw anyone to Christ, who are you busy for? If it's not to do the will of the Father, and that is to draw the lost to Him, what purpose have you fulfilled? Self-care is taking the time to take care of oneself, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Those are the three areas of self-care in my own life that I have made personal goals that I'm currently working towards. Taking care of oneself physically is our physical health. What we eat, drink, how much we exercise. The physical relates to the senses of sight, touch, hearing, smell, and taste. Currently, I have a weight loss goal. Not that I don't love myself or view myself as beautiful, but for me, I would like to lose a few pounds. We are all created to be different shapes and sizes, but I am aware that going into my relationship with my former husband, I was a fit 135 pounds. By the time we married, I had unknowingly doubled in size. I say unknowingly because food had become my comfort. I hated to look in mirrors. Although I had to buy larger clothes, it wasn't until the passing of a family member in 2016 that I looked at photos taken with family and realized how obese I had become. I can't say that in that moment I loved me anyway. I became embarrassed that although I tried to appear to others that everything was well, it was clear I was eating my emotions and not taking good care of myself. Since you can't lose weight overnight, it would take a great deal of therapy before I would learn to love all of me. To be able to say I'm beautiful while striving for better. At the recommendation of my therapist, I purchased an elliptical exercise machine for my home, which also came with a stationary bicycle as well. It is my goal this season to start exercising 45 minutes a day, 3 days a week, until I increase to doing it daily. The great thing about exercise is it helps you release any negative emotions you're feeling, whether to start your workday with a clear head or to end it letting go of the day. If you eat sugary, fried, salty food frequently, along with syrupy, high-calorie drinks, you can expect to feel sluggish in movement and in thought. Simple changes can improve your health and yourself. For example, one of my favorite snacks is salty chips because I love the crunch. I replaced chips with celery sticks while at work, and I was still satisfied to be crunching and munching on something that was less junk food. Water is the drink that is healthiest, but I hate it the most. I cannot just drink water. So when having a Coke, I take several sips of water. Although my water intake is not the best, I'm ingesting to increase it the best I can. Most of the time when we are seeing or hearing, it is social media, TV, or something found on Google. Filtering what you watch and read helps to take care of yourself also. Watching shows where there's drama, yelling, fighting, negative attitudes begins to infiltrate itself within you. Recently, I began reading more about suicide, mental health, and church, and for a moment, I was confused. Forgetting that my faith tells me to trust God and believe the word of God and be immovable in my faith. Emotionally guard yourself. I didn't say put up walls, but guard your heart and your personal life. One of the best things you can do for emotional self-care is therapy, once again. Just like people visit a chiropractor annually, semi-annually to make sure their back is in alignment, we all need to stay in alignment emotionally. Grief is not a process a person should try to process alone. Depression or anxiety either. Even if you feel like your life is perfectly normal, therapy is always good to speak to a mental health professional to make sure there is no deep-rooted issues that are undealt with that could cause emotional issues in the future. We all live with so many lies of what we should or should not do. The world is filled with emotionally unhealthy individuals. Something as small as a man being told that he shouldn't cry since they were boys because it shows weakness. Ask yourself, could you honestly sit before family and friends and tell your truths without being judged? Spiritually take care of yourself by being fed the Word of God. Being a member of a church and attending Sunday mornings is not enough. If you only feed yourself physical food one day a week, one time a week, how physically weak will your body become by the next Sunday? Just like my podcast, there are others that give many sermons and spiritual advice. There is YouTube videos. My pastor at Harvest Point posts every sermon for free. But we must continually stay fed in the Word of God because the world is constantly feeding into us, whether we want it to or not. During this day and age where technology has become our friend, download a daily devotional app so that you have a daily dose to start your day. It makes a huge difference when I start my day with the Word. And even though electronics are great, make sure you have a physical Bible you can hold in your hand, flip through, study, and highlight. Study the Word and ask God for revelation, and lean not to man's interpretation. Know God and His Word for yourself. Self-care in these areas doesn't make you obsolete from the stresses, hardships of life, but it helps you to be better prepared to pray and not panic. To understand that God granted you another day for a reason, that if today is rough, live with the hope tomorrow can and will be better. Self-care is not having a drink to release daily stress. If alcohol is your go-to during difficult times, that can lead to addiction. Self-care is not locking yourself away from the world, sitting alone in the dark, crying until you feel better. That's depression. Self-care is not blowing money on items you don't need instead of applying the funds to things that you do, because those items make you smile for a moment. The world is full of sadness, evil, struggles, but initiate self-care in your life to experience the joy God has for you. I am Everett Maxine, and I want to thank you for listening into The Absence of Her. Please remember to like, follow, and most importantly, share.